after switching from iPhone to the S24 Ultra for the past 6 months, the only other launch this year that I've been really excited about has been the Pixel. Now, this video isn't sponsored by anybody. Team Pixel seems to have basically vanished here in the UK. But this video is sponsored by me. Hashtag Team My Wallet. Because I spent £3,500 on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, the Pixel 9 Fold Pro, whatever it's called, the buds, and the watches, which will come at a later point. But today, for the sake of this video, I want to focus on the Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL because as an iPhone user, I thought Google really hit a home run after watching the keynote presentation this year. Now, I just love the whole look and feel of the Pixels this year. It has always been a fairly popular opinion that Pixels always had great software but lacking hardware. But honestly, I'm telling you this year, that is absolutely not the case anymore. Now, the rounded edges mean that your phone can very comfortably sit in your hand without leaving marks, kind of like the S24 Ultra can do over time. Now, the volume and the power buttons are also the right way around on the phone, here with the power on the top and the volume down below that, which means it's just overall easier to adjust the volume. Although, of course, yeah, it can take a while to get used to that if you're not used to that change. Now, the glossy rails, the smooth satin finish on the back, even the generous camera bump on the back is designed in a way that means the phone won't wobble when trying to, type with it laid flat on a desk. I just love everything about the design of this phone, which is a really, really silly thing to say because it basically looks like an iPhone in so many ways. But the thing it doesn't copy from the iPhone is the Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front, which doesn't suffer from, I don't know if anyone else gets this, but from this invisible but very, very dangerous slip and slide gymnastics that have resulted in me, dropping my iPhones far too many times to count. Although, with that said, if I am wearing jogger shorts, I do find this has slipped out of my pocket so consistently every single time. So it is well worth considering, a case of some form. Just, yeah, RIP to the corners of my Pixel Pro XL 9. Also, another thing I've been kind of missing, I guess, from the Pixel has been, in terms of cases, obviously there's loads of different case designs you can get, but I have in particular been missing MagSafe. I can't actually show you that case, sorry, that's a case that hasn't been released yet. But on my S24 Ultra, I've been using these MagBack cases for ever so long and super useful. I don't know if you can see this, but put it up here. You can just stick them to any metal surfaces, and means you can also use MagSafe chargers. So I've got MagSafe chargers on my desk here and at home and on a nightstand when when I go to bed. And that's one of the things I'm having to either put this on a flat wireless charger or find a cable and plug it in overnight. Again, not the end of the world, just noted if you are particularly moving from an iPhone to your first Android phone and you've gone with the Pixel 9 Pro XL, again, great choice, but yeah, no MagSafe. Now we've got 3000 nits peak brightness on that 6.8-inch screen, which mostly works well for sunny days, although I did find it struggled staying that bright consistently during use, which again, can make it quite tricky to use. There's also the new ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which is lightning quick to unlock if you don't want to use Face Unlock for any reason. And that's something that was much needed over the previous generation Pixels. You've got a 24-hour plus battery life, which is definitely not 24 hours for normal use, but still pretty great, although the fast charging could be faster. As always, some fantastic Pixel-powered cameras, 50 megapixel wide and 48 megapixel ultra wide and telephoto, as well as a 42 megapixel selfie camera, and we'll have some more sample shots on those soon. There's IP68 rating for water and dust resistance, and of course, a bucket load of software features, including the new launch of Google Gemini, the global launch of Google Gemini, which is getting better and better as time goes on. And kind of like Apple did with Siri, it's about time Google did a serious upgrade to their much needed Google Assistant with some caveats. Now we are just about getting to the stage where you can basically ask it whatever you want, and it does it rather than looking up a list of safe phrases that you're allowed to ask. And Google Gemini feels like it is nearly there, but not quite. Open Facebook. Go to the home screen. Send Erica a WhatsApp message saying, I'll be home soon.
I'm not seeing a WhatsApp number for that contact.
And whilst I've also been able to play with the new Apple Intelligence, which is in beta still at the moment, Apple's implementation just feels more natural. I'm getting a tattoo tomorrow o'clock at 2 p.m. It's at the Electric Lady in Chichester. Can you create a calendar appointment for that for me, please?
Unfortunately, I cannot access real-time appointment information for tattoo studios.
But I have some annoyingly serious issues with Gemini. Now, when I'm sat at home and I try and use it here, can you set a reminder for 2 p.m. tomorrow?
All right, tomorrow at 2 p.m. What's the title?
My Nest Hub responds, which then doesn't support Gemini. And so then you have this like lesser capable device taking over. No problem though, because that's fixed by just, as silly as it sounds, just disabling the mic on the Nest Hub. Kind of annoying, but you have to do it. But Android also still doesn't run Gemini either, which for me is by far the most frustrating part, because the time when you most want to be hands-free and using your voice is when you're driving. Send a message to Erica on WhatsApp saying I'm almost home.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Send a message to Erica on WhatsApp saying I'm almost home.
Sorry, who do you want to message?
Are you the new Gemini assistant?
Sorry, who do you want to message?
Erica Matheson. Literally is here.
Who do you want to message?
Erica.
Who do you want to message?
Erica Matheson.
Who do you want to message?
Seriously, this piece of And of course, given that Android Auto in particular is powered from the Pixel 9 device, which has Gemini, I'm really struggling here. I'm really confused as to why this isn't a thing. And I know, sorry to keep comparing it to Apple and the iPhone side of things, but their AI features do carry over to CarPlay. So since watching the Google keynote, I just assumed when they say, Gemini is here, well, it would be here. So after using the Google Gemini and Apple Intelligence the last few days or so, I would say that they're both still on par with each other. Like Apple Intelligence has made a ton of mistakes, which I'll probably clip in here for you to see with trying to navigate places. Navigate to haven't. Navigate to Waterlooville Air Rifle Club. Waterlooville Air Rifle Club.
Navigating to Waterlooville Air Rifle Club.
Cold East Mansion.
Navigating to the mansion at Cold East.
Navigate to Cold East Mansion. Navigate to Cold East Mansion. And Google Gemini still just doesn't work a lot of the time, so we are still we've leveled up the voice assistants with Google Gemini and Apple Intelligence, although I know that's in beta still at the moment, but it's still not there. You can't delete multiple calendar appointments in one voice command. Trying to navigate places is still really frustrating at times. And so yeah, we're making progress, but currently whether one's better than the other, they're both pretty much of a muchness. Whether you stick with Google Gemini and try and use that as much as you can, or if you're in the Apple camp and you like Apple Intelligence, they're both pretty solid voice assistants with the same kind of failings they also have. So yeah. Now that's not unique, of course, to the Pixel series of phones. It's just the same problem on my S24 Ultra and basically any Android that runs Google Assistant. It's just really frustrating that everything still feels really fragmented, even with Gemini now. I don't know, maybe Apple Intelligence could be the reason for me going back to iPhone. Maybe comment down below with either Gemini or Apple if you've been able to test both, and let me know what you think. Now let's talk about the cameras now, because this is, of course, what Pixels are known for. They seem to always win or come very, very close to winning, all of those blind camera tests we all see online. And I'm not gonna go pixel by pixel comparisons because, again, personally, I just don't care for that level of detail. I just care about, capturing memories with my family and friends. And generally speaking, the cameras are really great, as you expect on any Pixel. There are only really two issues I can kind of pick up on. Now, the first is that if you do want to use that full 50 megapixel resolution, the camera becomes horrendously laggy, and in some situations, totally unreliable. Sometimes it is a full second or even more than that to wait from pressing the shutter button to actually taking a photo. And as you can see here, it just fails to take a photo sometimes because I guess it's trying to process the last one along with trying to focus at the same time. It becomes a really, really difficult way of using this. Whereas, sorry again, but on the iPhone, doesn't do this, and of course neither does my S24 Ultra. And so when I go back to my, all I want to do is capture memories. Sometimes this thing stops me from being able to capture those memories, which, especially with kids of course, they don't hang around forever. And as you can see here, I was trying to capture the right moment and trying to judge my daughter's jumping out, and then the delay on the pixel, also trying to judge how that delay would be to try and take something at the right time. So just the only option really here is to drop the quality down to 12 megapixel, which then just works fine. But then why are you paying for a 50 megapixel camera sensor? Now, the other one I've got is when trying to change the lenses when shooting videos. It can get pretty kind of jerky. And again, not as smooth again as my S24 Ultra or the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But again, those two issues aside, the photos, it does capture fantastic photos, and the videos are also really, really great as well. So yeah, those issues aside, this is a great phone with great cameras on it. Now, in terms of other things, battery life is really, really great, up there with the S24 and the iPhone. Although I did struggle with it in the first few days, like don't let that put you off. It seemed to chew through an awful lot of battery very, very quickly, and also got quite warm whilst going through that initial, first time setup. We are now down to 20% battery life, and it's like 3:52 in the afternoon, and it's dropped onto battery saver by default. So yeah, I might go give this a quick charge because I kind of want to use it properly. Maybe it's just the first kind of day or two because obviously playing with it, setting things up, installing apps, but not the best so far. But so I just had my my tattoo all finished, done yesterday, and I was obviously using the Pixel for like 3-4 hours constantly whilst I was having this done, and just wanted to make a note on the battery life of the Pixel. So when I was sat down there, battery life was incredible. Literally, I think I had 5 hours worth of screen on time yesterday, and like 3 or 4 hours of that was just literally sat there still just on social media all the time. And the thing that I noticed is when I then left and had it finished, and then I went for a walk around town and got the camera open and started taking photos and videos, the battery then really suddenly started to drain. So my general impressions are the battery life on this phone is incredible, but in particular, if you're taking a lot of photos, a lot of videos, it really does seem to chew through the battery quite quickly, and the phone also does seem to warm up a little bit whilst you're taking those photos. Again, not a huge issue. I wouldn't call it a big glaring issue with the pixels and the pixels are overheating. There's nothing like that at all. But just a note where I've been using it for quite a while now, that I've only really just made that kind of connection of, it's when I'm taking photos and videos that it seems to drain the battery, because I am getting to late afternoon, early evening every day when it kicks into battery saver mode automatically. And to be fair, with that enabled, I'm almost at home anyway. So if I really need to, I can plug in, or very, very worst case, I can just, leave it in battery saver mode, which normally gets me to bedtime around about midnight with 3% left. But yeah, battery, very, very good. Just wanted to kind of point that out for you. Performance, really, really great. I don't have any issues with using this phone day to day. And that's when swapping between, the S24 Ultra, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, they are all pretty much of a muchness nowadays. And if you're buying one of these Pixels, you just won't be disappointed with the battery or the performance.
Okay. There's a bug here.
James is buying an S24 Ultra?
I'm just looking.
And not Pixel?
There's a bug here.
Why are you not buying a Pixel, James?
Don't want one, they're not as good.
Why not?
Because they're not as good, do you know what I mean? They're just, these are really nice. And the Pixels are not nice as nice, so don't get them because they're not as nice.
Yeah, I tried to persuade him to get a Pixel, and he bought an S24 Ultra instead, so good choice. I just think that the Tensor G4 is such a capable chip nowadays. Even though it may benchmark slower than other flagships, again, we're kind of getting to the level where numbers don't really matter anymore, because these things are so quick. We're just we're simply splitting hairs now on these benchmark tests. And no issues at all with connectivity, which is something my iPhone is really struggling with right now. I do think that's something to do with the iOS 18 beta I'm using. But I've been using my Pixel 9 with my Meta Ray-Bans, tons of other accessories, apps, Govee LEDs around the home, Sonos speakers, even though they've ruined the Sonos app, even the Weber Smart Grill we've got recently. Literally zero issues with performance or apps, supports, and going back to that whole comfort thing again, super comfortable for those super long Duolingo sessions. I'm really into that at the moment. Now, one thing I do like in the Pixel 9 Pro XL over my S24 Ultra is the NFC sensor placement on the back here. It's just a little bit higher, it's underneath the camera bump here, which means you can usually just tap like the end of the phone when you're paying for things. Now with the S24 series, I find the NFC sensor really picky. It's a little bit further down on the back of the phone, which means you sort of have to like actually hold the phone out in the exact right position for it to work properly. And just, yeah, Pixel doesn't have any of those issues whatsoever. Oh, and the Pixel has one of the best and strongest haptic feedback of any phone that I've used recently. It's really, really satisfying to feel those like taps as you're navigating around and typing messages, or, you know, love that about the Pixels. Now, of course, there are a ton of other Pixel-specific features. There's 8K video with Video Boost, Add Me, where you can add yourself into the photos, Circle to Search, Generative AI Fill, Night Sight Video, Best Take, Zoom in, like this. So many more features that you may or may not use, depending on how you use your phone. But I really do think that Google have absolutely smashed it out of the park this year. Like, genuinely, it feels like they've taken an iPhone and just like slapped Android on it. And as someone who is considering switching from Apple to an Android phone, this is a really solid option that still feels like an iPhone in your hand, but you get all of the benefits that Android brings. So if you are looking for a change, I would definitely recommend picking out the Pixel 9 series. But that aside, the question though is whether it's worth going for the Pro over the regular Pixel 9, since other than the size and some minor differences in the cameras, you pretty much still get everything else. But would you get a Pixel, or would you get a Samsung, or are you considering an iPhone this year with their new Apple Intelligence? Honestly, like, whichever way you go, if you do go for the Pixel 9 Pro or the Pro XL, as with pretty much any phone you buy nowadays, at least at the, you know, the flagship levels, I don't think you're going to be disappointed.
Darling, you're with me forever and always. Give me shelter, or show me heart, and watch me fall apart, watch me fall apart.